Hello, guys. Welcome to Easy Dating Coach's channel. Today is the greatest day of all time. We've got one of my great friends and person I've been working with for a long time. If you don't know him, his name is Clayton Olson. He is infamous. He's been on my channel. He is one of the top videos on my channel. He's got over 25,000 views on my channel, over 560 likes, and barely any dislikes. This guy is a legend. So much so that I've interviewed probably about 50 to 100 people on this channel. And he literally is number 2 on the channel, only behind the king of dating, John Gray. So Clayton, for me, at this point, is the prince of dating and relationship coaching because he's just right below John Gray. And that is a wonderful thing. So, ladies, before you see him, he's got beautiful, I believe it's blue eyes. Is that right, Clayton?
That is correct.
So he looks wonderful, and he's got this doughy face that just you want to be around, you want to be close to, and you want to listen to forever because he's just so inviting. But I am going to warn you, he is a ferocious lion when it comes to dating and relationship advice, and he changes the lives of so many women. And I just feel so lucky that this young man is here to help us. And this is going to be amazing. And just so you guys know, what we're talking about today is 3 things blocking women from finding love. So Clayton, welcome to the Easy Dating channel. And guys, since he's so amazing, I'm going to put down his YouTube channel. You're going to want to join his channel. He's got over 100,000 subscribers. And he's just, you'll see. Get ready, guys. Here it comes. Clayton. Welcome, my friend.
Mike, thank you for having me. And that intro, that is a perfect example of how to crack open a man's heart right there. Thank you. I love that introduction, and I'm flattered, and I really appreciate, just those words. So thank you.
You are very welcome. Certainly earned. I've been following your content for years, and it's phenomenal. But anyway, we got work to do, man. We got to help some women.
We do.
All right. 3 things blocking women from finding love. What is it, man? Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's jump in. And what I would like to start with here is, I'm going to talk about a couple different concepts, a couple different ways that women may be in the dating scene that is these subtle ways in which they're stopping themselves from being either fully available, or there's certain preconceptions or beliefs that they may be operating under that are stopping them from showing up as their most vibrant, beautiful self that's fully connected to the person in front of them. Right. So the first reason why you may be blocking yourself from finding love is based on this concept that I came up with a while back. I'm not going to claim that I created it because it may have been something, an amalgamation or some type of concoction that I came with listening to different people. But it's that the reason why you get into a relationship, the reason why you are in dating ultimately determines the result of what actually happens. So we hear this in standard life coaching is, what is the why? What is the why behind why you're out there trying to find a partner? And if the why is something where it's like, I just have it as a goal to get married. It's a goal in my life that I just want to get married. Or I have a goal because I want to have financial security. Or I really want, and the goal is to have a partner so I can be taken care of when I'm older. Or I really want children. Those can be subtle ways in which they actually stop you from showing up fully available and authentically connecting with the man in front of you. Now, I'm not saying that these are wrong reasons. I'm not saying that these are invalid reasons. These are absolutely valid reasons, and these are valid wants that I am not telling you to let go of. However, if they are at the top of the hierarchy of why you want to be in a relationship, they can sabotage the quality of the relationship, because what ends up happening on a subtle level is, in some ways, the guy is being used, the connection with the man is being used as a stepping stone to achieve something that is higher than the connection itself. So if the reason that you want to be in a relationship is because there is a certain quality of connection that you want to experience, if there's a certain level of depth of love that you want to bring into your life, if you want to see the relationship or the connection as a platform for love, I would say that that is a far more connected and deeper reason to be in the dating scene and want to find a potential partner that will actually stop you from focusing on some type of result that needs to happen in like somewhere in the future, but rather have you present with what is unfolding and much more conscious of the person that's in front of you and able to vibe with them and also determine whether they're a high quality person that you want to spend the rest of your life with. I'm going to pause right there. Mike, does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So let me give an example and tell me if this is kind of like a one-off situation for what you're talking about, because I really want to make this tangible for folks. So we've got a woman who, let's say, is 37, and all she wants to do is have a child. And so she's like, well, I need a man for that, so I've got to go date and get this man so I can have the baby, which is my ultimate goal, and I really want that because I want to be a mother. And then is that kind of where she's unauthentic in terms of dating, which scares off the man because he's like, is she here for me? Is she here for the baby? Like, what's my role in this?
You named it. That's a perfect example of that. That's a perfect example of that because on a subtle level, we're not saying don't want to have a baby, but let's not put the cart before the horse, right? If you're wanting a child, I'm questioning, well, do you want to have the child with a quality partner? Right? Do you want to have and I think if that's the case, we need to go one step at a time, right? So what's the first thing necessary that if you want to bring a child into a dynamic, and you probably want to bring a child into a healthy dynamic where there is love, where there is loyalty, where there's devotion, where there's two people standing next to each other that are going to walk through the fires of life together. And I say, just back up for a moment, slow down, and let's focus on what is the next step. And it's, okay, you know what? Maybe it is, I want to enjoy and really find someone that I can be my fullest expression of myself around, right? Rather than I need to find a guy so I can have a kid, because then it's like the guy is just in some ways being used, again, as a stepping stone to get to something that you're wanting, which I believe detracts from the actual quality of the connection and the presence. And the guy's it's going to sit weird within him, the way that you show up. There's going to be a subtle way in which you are positioned when you are with him on dates and in the relationship that has you kind of striving for something that could have a guy want to put the brakes on, because in his mind, he's questioning, is she really into me? Is she really want to be with me? Or is it just that there's something that she wants to get through me?
Mm-hmm. Clayton, since a lot of my audience is like, 40s, 50s, 60s, and even 70s and 80s, but let's talk about like around like 50 years old woman, 50 plus, that's probably done with the whole kids thing. What would be an example for her where she is using the man as a stepping stone?
It could be something to the effect of, and I mean, this is a deep one. This is a deep one that I think is at the heart of being human. And it's one of, I don't want to die alone, right? I don't want to live the rest of my life alone. And this is kind of, in some ways, we'll talk about this in the third reason, because we touch on this. But as strong as that reason is of, I don't want to be alone, I don't want to die alone, it takes something. It takes a mental maneuver internally to really come from a place of love and perhaps shift it to, in this lifetime, I want to find a place where I can express the fullest nature of my heart, rather than I'm looking for somebody to protect me from the inevitable death that may occur later in life. How does that land?
Wow. I mean, as per usual, you're blowing my mind. I hope I don't misquote you, because this, I think, was just so powerful. And maybe you can restate it, because I'm going to mess it up. You said, having the hearts together. You know what I'm talking about when you said bringing the hearts together? What was the quote?
Yeah, something to the effect of, where I would like in this lifetime to find a place, a territory, a platform in which I can express I can have the fullest expression of my heart seen and heard or received, rather than I don't want to die alone. And it's a maneuver. It's just a maneuver of, why are you in this? What are you ultimately moving towards? Where are you coming from inside yourself? And one of them is just going to allow you to bring much more of the quality that you're wanting to create, rather than the thing that you're trying to avoid, into that connection. I mean, if we look at law of attraction, right? Like, what you're focused on and what you're bringing attention to is what you are creating. So the invitation here is to do your best to make that maneuver into focusing on what you're wanting to create rather than what you're wanting to avoid.
Yeah, and I just want to give some male feedback on this.
Yeah.
This is just amazing. And reason being, like, as a man, I don't want to be a stepping stone, right? I want to be the number one focus, obviously. And specifically, like, a woman that, what I'm looking for, if I'm going to partner up, I want this, like, amazing, beautiful, symbiotic relationship where we just fully get along. We become one person. We become best friends. We fall in amazing love. And just, we're on the same page in terms of values, and we're growing together. And that's beautiful. And if that's the purpose of the woman, well, then that sounds like something I want to be a part of. But if she wants to, doesn't want to die alone, well, that doesn't make me feel special or something I'm interested in.
Wonderfully said, man. Wonderfully said. And I think you just put it into just perfect kind of brass tacks, just personal experience. And it really underscores, yeah, it's like one of them is about us and the other one is about you and a desire that you have. And it's like, I'm just a stand-in, and anybody will do. Anybody, any guy will fill that hole for you. So why me?
Yeah. And no one wants to feel that way.
Yeah.
All right, brother, you're a genius. Let's move on to number 2. What do we got?
All right. So number 2, the second way that you may be blocking yourself from finding love is, and this is one that I believe we can all fall into, men and women alike. And I just want to say that I want to underscore this too, that this is not about that it's just something that women are doing. I mean, this happens. This is part of the human experience. And it's thinking that you need to be someone else in order to be deserving of love. Thinking that you need to do something more than you're currently doing to deserve love. And how this comes out is in a tendency to perhaps be a people pleaser, where we are trying to track so much what that person wants and needs in order to feel good, and we're trying to give it, that we stop tracking our own needs, that maybe we start to turn into a bit of a chameleon when we're with the person. And I see this happen in a lot of the coaching that I do. I work with both men and women for a long time now, several years. I've worked with men and women going through breakups. And a tendency that I see that, and men can do this too, but I see it more with the women that I talk to, is this kind of shape-shifting stance where they're trying to eliminate any reason for the guy to have a reason to break up with her. So they are dishonoring themselves by perhaps not really being in touch with their values, not being in touch with their needs, and they're trying to give everything to the guy while kind of letting go of their sense of self. And what often happens is, at first the man might think, oh, wow, there's this total compatibility here. But there's something that will be like I would say a red flag that gets triggered in a guy's mind, where it starts to come off as untrustworthy after a while. And the man will start to feel, who am I actually in relationship with? If I start pushing against this, is there anything actually there? Or is she just becoming everything that I want? And how this will begin to manifest is the guy might start to resent you. The guy might actually start to push against you and challenge you in ways, maybe even be a little bit mean, because he's trying to find your spine. He's trying to find the place perhaps where you push back with your value system, so he can see that he's in relationship with a real person and not just a mannequin or a chameleon. So it is learning how to fully be yourself and know that you deserve love, even if you feel, this is the tricky one, even if you feel inadequate as a person, even if you feel like you might not measure up to certain standards, it's to realize that just because you feel inadequate doesn't mean that you don't deserve love. You can still feel inadequate and fully have a right to deserve love from a man.
Wow. I got to ask you about this. because I've never heard this. So if a woman feels inadequate, do you think she needs to fix that so she feels like, man, I'm great, I'm a catch, all right, I'm ready to go out there? Or can she legitimately date in this place of inadequacy and land a guy? Like, how's that work?
Yeah, great. So I will say this, and I'm gonna be a little bit vulnerable here around my own journey and just the kind of the way that my personality has formulated over the course of the decades of being alive. I have a tendency, something that I am in dance with consistently, around feeling that I need to achieve certain things in life as a man in order to be a worthy partner. And so there's a certain amount of money that I have to make. There's a certain amount of purpose and direction and mission that I have to be on in order to deserve love. And it is an illusion that I bought into at a very young age. And even with all the work and the therapy and the coaching that I receive and the self-development that I am involved in, I still sometimes fall into that trance of feeling like, oh my God, I'm not accomplishing enough. And I don't know if I'm fully adequate to be in partnership. And so it's perhaps not about eliminating that completely, but it's about having a more healthy, conscious, and present dance with it, right? Realizing that this might be my partner, the partner I'm talking about here is the partner of feeling inadequate, of feeling like maybe I'm not good enough, like that maybe that thought's gonna be there for the rest of my life. And it's about noticing when it comes up and dancing with it with more grace, being able to not allow it to take and lead my life, but rather where I can perhaps dance with it and see, this is just old programming. Got it. And then be able to maybe put it off on the sidelines and dance with a different belief and realize that this one might come back every now and then, and to not beat myself up over it or take it super seriously and think, oh my God, this is the truth, but rather, this is just a belief that I have and maybe it's not true. So it's changing the relationship with the inadequacy rather than thinking that it's the God-given truth that I am inadequate. Is that helpful?
That's very helpful. And it sounds like part of that is like, if we're looking at attachment styles, like part of that could be just someone who's avoidant, where they're almost making excuses for why they can't be in a relationship. Like, I can't get married yet. I can't have kids yet. I can't do or I can't commit to someone because I wanted to make this amount of money. I wanted to travel to all these places. Thank you for calling. But in reality, you can be doing this with your partner. Like, you're never going to fully have everything, right? And if you've got, like, I feel comfortable. I've done a lot of things. Like, I've accomplished a lot of things in my career. I've accomplished a lot of my traveling goals. And now I can keep growing with this partner. Is that kind of where we're headed, and just getting comfortable in where we are right now? Is that right?
Yes. And realizing that we're on a path, we're on a path that I don't necessarily know if there's a destination of suddenly, oh my God, I am all the time 100% feeling whole and complete, right? And I know for a fact 100% of the time that I am a catch. We may have moments where we fully come in touch with that. We may have a self-care practice that allows us to touch that territory more and more often in our life. But there are absolutely going to be setbacks. There are absolutely going to be times when we feel inadequate. And to say that is okay. That is okay. And that is not a reason to suddenly say, oh, okay, I'm not ready.
That's awesome. I love it. All right, Clayton. What is number 3, man?
So, Mike, number 3, this one is a doozy, and it can creep into our lives. It can creep into everybody's lives, and it's one to check and have some boundaries around, because when you get this, the sense of personal power that will arise as a result of it, and the sense of your own ability to not waste time will skyrocket. And it is to stop taking people's behavior as a direct reflection of your value. Because if you're doing that, if you are thinking that how the man is showing up in your life is a reflection of your worth, of your value, of whether or not you are deserving of something, you will lose yourself in the relationship. And ultimately, it will just breed a certain sense of insecurity that comes out as controlling jealousy. in a subtle way that just continually pushes people out of their life. So how does this look? So a brass tack example would be, if a guy is not contacting you, you may be thinking, or if, say, like a guy pulls away momentarily, or there's more space within the dynamic than maybe you're comfortable with in the beginning stages of dating. If you find yourself slipping into a place of anxiety with self-talk like, God, well, maybe it's because I'm not attractive enough, or maybe it's because I said X, Y, Z on the date, or maybe it's just because like I'm not up to par, and who am I to be dating a guy like that? And thinking that it suddenly has to do with your value, then maybe rather the guy's just busy, or maybe there's something that he's got caught up with that has taken his attention off of the dynamic. Essentially what I'm saying is, rather than seeing him as guilty or yourself as guilty because of something that's happening that you're not expecting, approach it with a sense of curiosity. Approach it with a sense of openness, where you're not allowing your value as a human being to be affected by his behavior. How does that land?
Yeah, I mean, that's just beautiful. And that's the most exciting thing you can have in a relationship, in my opinion, is just the sense of absolute unfiltered curiosity. And it will save your relationship, because we always are quick to point the finger either that way or this way. Yeah. And it just doesn't help anything. Like, let's get wildly and vastly curious about, well, why do you feel this way? Why am I feeling this way? And figure it out. Because once we figure it out, we can start changing it. And once we can change behaviors, then we have a massively better relationship with ourselves, with our partner. And it's so exciting. You're getting to know the person better instead of,
yes.
fighting.
Okay.
So that's beautiful.
Yes. And thank you for that. So even hearing you talk about that, Mike, what's coming to mind here is, and I think what you're pointing to, and I want to just put in bold lettering, is that when you begin to take personally a man's actions and behaviors and how he's showing up, the ability to create what you want within the dynamic gets completely stifled, because it's almost like you get the carpet ripped out from underneath you, or rather you're ripping the carpet out from underneath you, and you disable yourself, rather than if you have a sense of curiosity in it. For example, if a man is needing a little bit more autonomy and he needs a little bit more alone time to reset before he can perhaps be in the dynamic with you or the connection with you, maybe he takes more days to get back to you, or for instance, to set a date than you're thinking, getting curious about that and saying, oh, wow, I'm with a guy that really needs his independence. I wonder if he knows the effect that this is having on me. I wonder if he knows that I'm perhaps wanting to see more of him. Rather than saying, oh God, this is, if I was just perhaps more sexual, or maybe if I was more complimentary, or if I was just a younger, more attractive woman, then he would be different. If we don't go that direction, we go this direction of thinking about, how do I communicate to him the impact that this is having on me? And I wonder if we're actually compatible, right? Rather than I wonder what I need to change about myself. That's how you can almost start to qualify the guys that you're with from a place of love, and really making better partner selection, making better partner choices.
Yeah, and I think on top of that, which this is perfect, is we know we're never going to change the characteristics of a man, right? A man is who a man is, and you're stuck. And if you like him, great. If you don't like him, on to the next one. But a man can change behaviors. And so when we get curious with him and find out, well, why is he not talking as much as I'd like him to? And maybe you tell him hey, I'd love to hear from you more often, and it would make me the happiest woman in the world if you did so. Well, he's capable of changing behavior, and he'll be like, wait, you want to hear from me more often? I was staying away because, you're this, have a great job and you got stuff going on, and I didn't want to bother you. So now we got curious. We found out what people want to do, and he does want to talk to you more, and he does want to make you happier. So he's going to change his behavior, and he's going to reach out, and he's going to try to make you feel special and check in and find out how your day is going.
Yeah. And if he doesn't, he might not be your guy.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, and this is where you get to be the person that is also qualifying what like the type of relationship you want in your life. And there's nothing wrong with not being compatible. Maybe he's just somebody that needs or wants a connection that has less communication in it, and that doesn't work for you. And it's neither of your faults. That's the whole point of dating, is just figuring out. It's like, oh wow, okay, this person, I don't think it's really going to jive here. But you're disabling yourself if you're taking this as an attack against you, because then how likely are you to be able to bring this up in an open and honest fashion to have a conversation where something new can actually be created?
Genius. And I want to requote him again. He said, it's neither of your faults if you guys want different things, and that's okay. And you just go find someone else. No big deal.
Yes.
All right. I love that. All right, guys, if you haven't already, go subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be interviewing people like Clayton, maybe not to his caliber because he's amazing, but we're going to try to find people like Clayton. And guys, also down there, I'm going to put access to Clayton's channel. I'm sure after watching this, you guys want to go subscribe and join his community. Clayton, are you giving away a free gift down that I'll put down here as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got a webinar that I ran with another coach a little while back, and it's some of the best content that I have created in the last year. It's not on my YouTube channel as content that you can watch there, but it is presented in a webinar that's about 60 to 90 minutes, and it's called The 3 Keys to Finding and Attracting a High Quality Man. I highly recommend that if you are single or even in a relationship still, and maybe it's just a budding relationship, to check it out. We cover things like different personas that come up that you may be in unconsciously that are blocking men from seeing the real you. We talk about feminine vulnerability, and we hit that from an angle that I don't think that people have heard before, which I believe is pretty empowering. So yeah, click on the link below there, register for a time that works for you, and we'd love to have you on board.
Yes. And guys, just what I love so much about Clayton is, and why I love having him on my channel, is really, I feel like he's kind of the setup guy for what I do. And for women, he's the king at getting people ready to be dating and handling any transformations. And obviously it's not changing who you are, but getting you so that you are like a prime package for men. And he's going to have you ready to rock and roll. So I love when clients, if they ever go see Clayton and then they come to me, I know, like, boom, they are ready to rock. Yeah. And so obviously what I do is more, I'm an online dating expert, and I'm the king at taking you from your single and you've got your act together, and now I get you the right guy and I teach you how to keep the right guy. And so it's perfect. It's just a beautiful symbiosis between Clayton and I. So anyway, go check out this webinar, and if you're anything like me, I'm enamored by his advice, and this was just amazing. So Clayton, as always, thank you so much for coming on here. I learned so much from you, so thank you.
Mike, thanks for having me, man. Great questions, and I appreciate you.
Of course. All right, brother. And everyone, subscribe, hit like, give us a comment. Clayton and I are both going to check this thing, and we'll respond here and there. So, guys, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.